I've been creating videos on DIY investing in South Africa for 5 years now, and I've also worked with many DIY investors as a financial planner over the past 2 years. I've received thousands of questions and reviewed hundreds of investment plans, and throughout this experience, I came to realize that most DIY investors in South Africa make 5 common mistakes, which I will share in today's video, as well as what they should rather be doing in order to fix them. Now make sure that you stick right to the end, as I will share something very special for DIY investors in South Africa that I've been working on over the past 12 months now. Right off the bat, the first common mistake that I see DIY investors make is that they would rather save their money than invest it in the stock market because, keeping it in the bank is safe and guaranteed, and investing it in the stock market is too volatile and scary. Well, let me tell you something. The only guarantee that you will get from saving all of your money in the bank is that it will lose its purchasing power over time due to inflation and taxes, meaning that you will become poorer and poorer every day just by existing. Earning 6% in interest might sound nice, but if inflation is 5%, you are only getting a real return of 1%. And if you exceed the 23,800 Rand interest tax exemption per year, the excess amount gets added back to your income and taxed according to your marginal tax rate, which ranges from 18 to 45%. Now, investing your money in the stock market might sound scary at first in the short term, but it could mean the difference of millions over the long term. If we compare Johnny and Sarah, both investing 3,000 Rand per month over 40 years, with Johnny earning 6% at the bank and Sarah earning 10% in the stock market, Sarah would effectively have 13 million Rand more than Johnny. Now, keeping money in the bank for emergencies or short-term goals like traveling is perfect, but just be careful not to hoard too much cash in a savings account, as it might unintentionally burn you over the long term. The second most common DIY investing mistake is trying to pick winning stocks based on research on social media and then trying to time the markets by buying at the bottom and selling at the top. This does not work, period. You may get lucky if there's a strong bull run where you can essentially throw darts at random stocks and feel like a genius, but once the first stock market crash comes, and it will always come, you will get scared and make erratic emotional decisions like selling off all of your stocks if your portfolio is too highly concentrated in high-risk individual stocks. Even the expert active fund managers all over the world struggle to beat the market consistently over the long term, with only 15.6% of US fund managers and 32% of SA fund managers outperforming the average return over the past 10 years. Also, if you invested in the S&P 500 from 2003 to 2022 and you remained fully invested for the full 7,304 days, you would have received a return of 9.7% in dollar terms. But if you missed only the 10 best days over this entire period, your average return would have dropped to 5.5%. Missed the top 20 days, your return dropped to 2.8%, which you have been able to predict which 10 or 20 days would have been the best over 20 years? No way. The best days usually follow the worst days, so best thing that you can do as a long-term investor is just to keep on investing through the highs and through the lows, and by buying as much of the market as possible. The third most common mistake I see DIY investors make is not paying attention to the amount of fees on their investments. Now, nothing in life is for free, and paying a fair fee for good advice or a service is not a problem. But you need to be cautious of overpaying in fees, as even a 1% or 2% difference in fees can have a huge impact over time. If we take Johnny and Sarah again, we both invest 3,000 Rand per month over 40 years and an investment return of 10%, where Johnny pays a 1% fee and Sarah a 3% fee. Sarah will effectively have 6.1 million Rand less in investments at the age of 65. Now, you can check the fees on your investments by requesting what is called the annual effective cost, or EAC statement, from your product provider. This EAC will be broken down in 4 parts. Number 1 is the investment management fee, aka the total investment charge, which is the fee that you are paying for the fund that you invest in. Actively managed funds can go as high as 2.5%, whereas passively managed funds can go lower than 0.5%. Number 2 is the advice fee, which is the fee that you pay your financial advisor should you use one. This fee ranges from 0% to 1.15%. Number 3 is the admin fee, which is the fee that you pay the platform that houses your investment, which usually ranges from 0.2 to 0.6%. And finally, we get that other fee, which is the fee that encapsulates marketing, commission, and early exit penalty fees. These other fees are usually only applicable to policy-based investments from insurance companies, which I would personally run away as far as possible, as the EACs on these investments can easily run above 10%, severely affecting the long-term growth that you could potentially receive. The fourth most common mistake I see DIY investors make is that they do not have enough offshore exposure in their investment portfolios. The JSE, which is the South African stock market, makes up less than 1% of the world's investable markets, and if we compare the long-term returns of an average JSE Top 40 Index ETF of about 9% with that of the average MSCI World Index ETF return of 14%, and you invest 3,000 Rand per month, the MSCI World Index could statistically return 53 million Rand more over a 40-year period. Not only is this difference in performance due to the international markets delivering superior returns over the long term, but also because the Rand is consistently devaluating against the US dollar at a rate of 4 to 6% per year. So in order to hedge against this continuous currency devaluation, it would make sense to expose your long-term investments to international markets with emphasis on long-term, as these investments tend to be very volatile over the short term and should definitely not be used for emergency funds or any short-term savings like a travel, car, or house deposit fund. And then finally, the fifth most common mistake I see DIY investors make is diversifying their investment portfolios. Once they understand the importance of diversification, they now go and buy 5 different ETFs in the same investment vehicle in order to diversify. But what often happens is most of the ETFs they buy track the performance of a similar portion of the market. For example, if someone decides to split their investment portfolio in 3 equal parts to a Nasdaq 100 ETF, S&P 500 ETF, and MSCI World ETF, they are essentially tripling their exposure to the top 100 listed companies in the US, doubling their exposure to the top 500 companies in the US, and diluting their exposure to the rest of the developed markets. This is what we call diversification, because it has the exact opposite effect, where buying more ETFs leads to higher concentration in specific areas. What you really want to do is buy ETFs that track different parts of the world's investable market, and that can usually be done just by 1 or 2 well-diversified ETFs. Now, I mentioned these top 5 common mistakes DIY investors make, as I also made them when I started my own investment journey 5 years ago. I had to learn all of these lessons the hard way through trial and error, and paid a hell of a lot of school fees in the process. But luckily, these are mistakes that can easily be avoided just with the right type of knowledge and guidance, which is why I decided to create a detailed DIY investing course for South Africans, where I will teach you everything you need to know to become an empowered investor. The course consists of 5 modules that will span over 5 weeks, with a group coaching call with me once a week and access to a community over the 5-week period. I've been building this course for over a year now, and it basically condenses everything that I know about investing into short, impactful lessons, workbooks, and calculators that will help you create and follow your own DIY investment plan, making you feel empowered to take control of your own financial future. Now, the first cohort is starting on the 1st of June 2025, and enrollment will open on the 21st of May. I will be limiting the spots for these cohorts, so if you don't want to miss out on learning from me and you want to be notified first thing when the course launches, then make sure to click on the link down in the description to join the waiting list. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lucky day. Cheers.